Welcome to Sports Watch. I'm Nick Donovan. Here's a sentence that I never thought I would say. The Ole Miss Rebels are in a must-win game against Georgia Southern if they want to reach a bowl game. The Rebels are 3-5 after a third straight loss to Auburn last weekend, and with only 4 games left in the season, the Rebels need to pull out 3 wins if they want to make a bowl. Ole Miss has to get it together against the Eagles Saturday because looming next weekend is a tough road matchup against Texas A&M, the number 4 team in the college football playoff standings. Let's be real. The Rebels would normally get up for a game like this. It's not a rivalry game in Death Valley. It's not Nick Saban bringing this team to Oxford. It's a non-conference game where Ole Miss actually pays Georgia Southern to play them. In turn, Georgia Southern gets demolished by the Rebels, the Ole Miss defense looks acceptable, and everyone hops back on the Ole Miss train into next week's shootout at Kyle Field. That's the best-case scenario. Worst-case scenario is Georgia Southern's triple offense destroys the Ole Miss defense, the Rebels drop to 3-6, and every resident in Oxford with working fingers and a Twitter account publicly state how they want the whole staff fired. I would like to believe that the Rebels will get back on track, but you never know with this team. Throwing it over to high school football, it's playoffs time. The Lafayette Commodores begin their hopeful journey to a 4A state championship in a game tonight against the Shannon Red Raiders. An ongoing 8-game win streak has the district champion Commodores in perfect form going into the playoffs. Their opponent, on the other hand, hasn't been so hot. The Red Raiders have lost 3 out of their last 4 games going into tonight's playoff matchup. I'm expecting this game to be a shootout. Both teams average more than 30 points a game with high-power offenses. Jamarcus Corrals and his 150 rushing yards a game will look to tear up the Red Raiders defense. With a dominant run game and home field advantage, look for the Commodores to pull this one out in advance. Let's not forget about playoff time for the Chargers. Well, not exactly. Playoffs start next week for 5A teams, but tonight's regular season game for Oxford against the Lake Cormorant Gators has crucial playoff implications. The Chargers have already clinched a playoff spot, but they are deadlocked with the Gators for second place in the district. The winner of tonight's game will clinch second place and earn an easier route to state. Both of these teams love to throw the ball. Chargers quarterback J.R. McClure and Gators QB Ben Rohrbacher each throw for over 200 yards a game. Both of these 7-win teams aren't afraid of the deep ball. Both games kick off at 7 o'clock tonight. Go Cubs go! Earlier today, the city of Chicago threw an epic parade in honor of the 2016 World Series champion Chicago Cubs. And when I say epic, I feel like I need to explain how big it is. When Obama was elected in 2008, he held a rally in Grant Park, Chicago. That drew a crowd of 250,000 people. After the Chicago Blackhawks won the Stanley Cup 3 years ago, nearly 2 million people attended the victory parade. This afternoon, over 5 million people attended the parade and rally. When the gates near Grant Park opened at 8 a.m., thousands of people were rushing in. Look at that. It looks like a zombie apocalypse. The 7-mile parade may have started this morning, but I'm sure it's going to turn into an all-night party for the city of Chicago on a Friday night. In NBA news, one of the most anticipated matchups of the season took place last night as Russell Westbrook and the Oklahoma City Thunder traveled to Golden State to take on former teammate Kevin Durant and the Golden State Warriors. There's been a lot of beef between these 2 teams throughout the offseason due to Durant ditching his former team to pursue a title in Oakland. Steph, Curry, Kevin Durant, and Klay Thompson all against the robot Terminator and Russell Westbrook. Now that is must-watch TV. The game surely didn't disappoint last night. Durant immediately came out hot, scoring 29 points in the first half. Westbrook, with his normal, always dominating the offense. And Jeremy Grant got his own after half. We're having some technical difficulties. We can't show the highlights, but I will say it was an awesome game. Golden State ended up dominating the game, winning by 30 points. That's all for sports. Be sure to follow us on NewsWatch at NewsWatch_UM. Rain and Ariel, back to you guys at the desk.